There's a row of cereal boxes in almost every British cupboard. Doesn't matter if it's a house with kids racing out the door for school or an older couple having their morning cup of tea. It's just there, a ritual. The UK spends billions of pounds a year on breakfast cereal, and most of us grab the same box every week without really thinking twice. A bowl of cereal with cold or warm milk feels like the sensible choice, the quick one, the healthy one. And the boxes agree with you. Whole grain wheat fields printed on the front, little hearts, high in vitamins, source of fibre. Sounds reassuring, right? But here's the thing. I actually sat down and read the small print on the back of every cereal box in my kitchen, and what I found was one of the biggest contradictions sitting quietly on supermarket shelves. Most cereals marketed as healthy, fit, or natural fail the exact same basic test. They're loaded with free sugars and a surprising amount of hidden processing, all disguised behind portion sizes that nobody actually eats. Now, here's where it gets interesting. In the UK, that traffic light system on the front of packaging, red, amber, green, it's voluntary. Post-Brexit, nobody's forcing brands to show it. So if a cereal would land a red light for sugar or fat, some brands just don't put the traffic lights on the front at all. Instead, you get a plain grey or black nutrition table tucked round the back, easy to miss on a busy shelf. And there's something else going on, behaviourally. Somewhere around 30 or 40, a lot of adults quietly retire the childhood cereals, the Cocoa Pops, the Frosties, and switch over to granola, muesli, or Special K. Feels like a grown-up, responsible decision. Except, and this genuinely surprised me, a lot of those mature granolas contain more sugar and more saturated fat per serving than the Cocoa Pops they replaced. And to make it worse, if the healthy cereal tastes a bit bland, plenty of people sprinkle a spoon or two of sugar on top anyway, or reach for full-fat milk, adding another 8 to 10 grams of sugar without even clocking it. All of that behaviour gets quietly encouraged by tricks happening further down the label. So let's get into the actual mechanics of it, because this is where the fine print really starts working against you. Every nutrition panel on every box is calculated per 30 to 40 grams. In real life, in actual British kitchens, nobody measures out 30 grams of cereal. That's about 3 or 4 tablespoons. It barely covers the bottom of a normal bowl. Studies on consumer behaviour here show the average person pours somewhere between 60 and 90 grams into their bowl. That's 2 to 3 times the official serving. Which means, without realising it, you're tripling the sugar, the fat, the calories, all in one pour. The NHS, Public Health England and Heart UK all recommend adults keep free sugars under 30 grams a day, 24 grams for children. But on plenty of healthy cereals, the word sugar gets swapped out for something friendlier sounding. Honey, apple juice concentrate, invert sugar syrup, molasses, dried fruit paste. Here's my honest take. Your body doesn't care what it's called. Metabolically, to your blood sugar and your teeth, all of that behaves exactly like refined sugar. And muesli and granola brands love leaning on raisins, dates, and dried banana as the healthy signal. Except drying fruit concentrates the fructose massively, and a lot of it gets coated in sugar syrup or oil beforehand just to keep it shelf-stable for months. Let's talk actual brands, because I think this only really lands when you see the numbers. Kellogg's Special K, original or red berries, has been sold for years as the cereal for people trying to stay in shape. Remember the whole 2-week challenge marketing? The red berries version carries around 15 to 17 grams of sugar per 100 grams. Pour a realistic British bowl, say 70 grams, and you're looking at 11 to 12 grams of pure refined sugar before you've even left the house. Nearly half a child's entire daily sugar allowance in one bowl. Then there's Jordan's Country Crisp. 4 berries, real nut, leaning hard into that rustic British countryside branding. British oats, supporting local farmers, nothing artificial. And genuinely, the imagery is lovely. But underneath, it's one of the densest cereals on the shelf for calories and fat. 4 berries sits around 22 to 25 grams of sugar per 100 grams and 12 to 14 grams of fat, often from palm or sunflower oil, used to bind those crunchy clusters together. Honestly, it's closer to a crumbled biscuit in a bowl than a bowl of oats. Sticking with household names here, because I think this is where people get genuinely caught out. Alpenmuesli, original or no added sugar, has been the sensible adult choice in British kitchens since the 70s. But original Alpen carries around 21 grams of sugar per 100 grams, most of it from syrup-coated raisins and barley malt extract. Even the no added sugar version still sits at 15 to 16 grams per 100 grams, purely from concentrated fruit sugars, plus milk powder adding extra lactose you don't really need. Then there's porridge, genuinely Britain's winter staple, and doctors do recommend it for the beta-glucans. But Quaker Oats So Simple sachets, the flavoured ones like golden syrup or apple and blueberry, promise porridge's health benefits with microwave convenience. One small 36-gram sachet of golden syrup carries roughly 7 to 8.5 grams of sugar, nearly 2 teaspoons in one tiny portion. Have 2 because 1 doesn't fill you up, and you've had over 16 grams of sugar before you've left the house. Now, this next one might be the most surprising, because it involves a cereal that starts out completely clean. Plain shredded wheat is famous for having exactly one ingredient, 100% whole wheat. But Nestlé's shredded wheat honey and nut takes that same simple wheat and coats it in a glaze. A touch of honey, maybe 1 or 2%, plus processed nuts and sugar. The jump is wild. You go from basically 0 sugar in the original to 16 to 18 grams per 100 gram in the honey and nut version. Then there's Kellogg's Crunchy Nut, one of the most loved cereals in Britain, with that famous slogan, "The trouble is, they taste too good." Corn, honey, roasted peanuts, sounds harmless enough, but the original Crunchy Nut carries around 35 grams of sugar per 100 grams. That's over a third of the box being pure sugar. It earns a proper red light on the government's traffic system. The granola version isn't far behind, sitting around 28 to 32 grams per 100 grams. And I want to mention the supermarket own brand Fit or protein granolas too. Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda, Morrison's, sold in the healthy aisle, big protein claims on the front. A lot of them lean on glucose syrup, invert sugar, and palm fat to bind soy or pea protein into crunchy clusters. Many land between 18 and 24 grams of sugar per 100 grams, with saturated fat up around 6 to 8 grams, which honestly cancels out most of the protein benefit you're paying extra for. So, are there any that actually pass? Yes, and it's a shorter list than you'd think. Nutritionists at the British Dietetic Association and Heart UK generally agree a genuinely healthy cereal needs under 5 grams of sugar per 100 grams, under 3 grams of fat, decent fibre, and a short, clean ingredient list. Weetabix Original is the obvious one. Those wheat biscuits have been a British staple forever. It comes in at just 1.6 grams of sugar per 100 grams and 0.8 grams of saturated fat, proper green light across the board, made from 95% whole wheat, fortified with iron and B vitamins, no added oils or syrups. Then there's plain rolled oats, Quaker, Flahavans, or the supermarket own brand versions like Tesco Everyday Value Oats. One ingredient, oats. Just 1.0 grams of sugar per 100 gram, entirely natural, 0 refined sugar added, and packed with beta-glucans that help lower cholesterol. And finally, plain Nestlé shredded wheat, the classic yellow box. One ingredient, 100% whole wheat, 0.7 grams of natural sugar per 100 gram, 0 added sugar, 0 salt, 0 oil. Proper staying power in a bowl. Here's the honest bit though. Switching from something sweet and processed to something like Weetabix or plain oats isn't instant.
Your taste buds have basically been trained by years of sugary breakfasts to expect that hit first thing in the morning. That craving is real. It's not a willpower thing, it's conditioning.
The way through it, at least from what's worked for people I've read about, is adding natural sweetness instead. Sliced banana, a handful of blueberries, rather than reaching for syrup or those sugar-coated dried fruits. It takes a bit of adjusting, but it's the actual step that breaks the cycle of sugar spikes first thing in the morning. So next time you're stood in that cereal aisle, or even just reaching into your own cupboard tomorrow morning, it might be worth flipping the box round. Because a picture of a wheat field and a green tick on the front doesn't tell you much at all. It's what's hiding in that tiny 30-gram serving size, the syrups wearing fancier names, and the sugar glazed onto otherwise honest whole grains that's quietly turned breakfast into dessert for a lot of British households. Read the back. Do the maths on your actual bowl size. That's really the whole trick.